Hey, how's everybody doing? It's Craig Bennett, aka Cash Cake with DFSArmy for another NBA First Look podcast for Friday, February 5th, 2021. We've got a nice 9-game slate on tap here. Should be the fun one. We got Super Bowl coming up in a couple days. NASCAR coming up a couple days after that, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then looks like we're going to have a full going baseball season as well. So going to do some of these videos for baseball when that comes up. Again, if you like these videos, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you know when I upload these videos. And if there's something else you want to see, just let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to accommodate. But with that, let's jump right in and see what we have on tap for today. All right, as you noticed here, I added this little scroller here. Now, right now, it just has some news on it. Talks about Woods' injury and LeBron James not liking the All-Star game and stuff like that. I'll find a better RSS feed that'll have what I want to do is find game totals and spreads and stuff like that. But I just wanted to throw it up there and add something like that to the channel, give you some good information. But I'm just testing it right now. So if you like that, let me know. If it's distracting to you and you don't like that, let me know as well. I just thought if I could put something up there scrolling that maybe had the information for the day or injury news or something like that, that would add something beneficial to you as we do things. So just let me know in the comments below if you like it, if you don't like it, and we'll proceed. But let's start on this monster 9-game slate here on Friday. First game here, let's go Chicago at Orlando. 223 over under, Chicago favored by 2. Big news, looks like Otto Porter is doubtful for Chicago, and Orlando. Still no Michael Carter Williams. So on the Chicago side, again, they're going to be basically fully healthy. Carter Jr. is, make sure 100% he's doubtful. Did he just get ruled out? Carter Jr. is out, so we know that we're not going to get any. We're going to get some Thad Young in our lives. He's been priced up, but he's been doing really well since he's been back. Like 6,200 for Thad Young is definitely up there. Over on FanDuel, he is priced at 6,600, but he's been getting a ton of minutes off the bench. That's one thing we got to consider. But if you look, Thad Young, 26 last game, but 31, 29, and 31. But look at what his production has been off the bench. Unbelievable. 38, 39, 41, and 43. At these prices, though, I don't think he's someone you can consider in cash games, but as a tournament play, if he can get you 40 at 6,200, you have no problem with that. But again, he's getting priced up towards his ceiling and someone I don't think you can really jump on. Same thing with FanDuel. Like he's center eligible there, which sucks. I liked him better when he was power forward. But he's priced up more than Larry Markkinen. Larry Markkinen 6,800 on DraftKings. Over on FanDuel, Larry Markkinen 6,500. So Markkinen's the better player over there on FanDuel. 14, but before that, 42, 42, 28. So that's actually been a little bit more consistent with no Carter out there. So maybe take that into consideration in cash games. Kobe White, 5,800 on FanDuel. Man, he's dropped off a ton. 6,000 here on DraftKings. Again, he's just, with Markkinen back, like I told you before, it kind of just, the usage just gets spread out way more. It's not Levine and White shooting all the time, and then those bigs just rebounding. Now, with Porter out, we should see, a few more shots for these guys. And Patrick Williams probably going to play more minutes here. But overall, the usage is not like insane for one guy. It gets spread out. Zach LaVine, 8,400 on DraftKings, 8,900 on FanDuel. It's not a price I'm loving. I think Kobe White's a guy I would take a shot at on FanDuel specifically, but no one I'm just in love with. I think it's more just Thad Young and Lauri Markkinen I'll take some shots on FanDuel at those prices. But on DraftKings, there's nobody here that I really want to play at price. Like I said, Thad Young would be the one guy, just his consistency he's been showing. But I'm not going to go out and just shove him in this lineup that we're going to build. Let's head over on the Orlando side. Like we said, Gordon's going to be out a long time. They're going to start, I think last game they started both Enos and Clark here. Again, I don't think we're going to need them on this slate, but just so you know, they did start those guys last time. Vucevic, 8,500 on DraftKings, 8,800 on FanDuel, 1.32 fantasy points per minute, 28% usage. Playing around 33, 34 minutes a game. Again, Chicago's front court is trash. No problem playing Vooch here. I'm just going to throw him in this first lineup. as we're building things. I think that there's some meat left on the bone there. I have no problem paying that price for him at all. Again, we'll see how lineup construction comes along. Evan Fournier, 6,200 on DraftKings, 6,700 on FanDuel. Minutes haven't been up even when Gordon's been off. But the shots, put up 34, 22, 20, and 41. Don't love the price on both FanDuel or DraftKings, but, in tournaments, I guess you could consider him. It's just not a whole... it's a great matchup, but I don't know if I love this team. Terrence Ross, 4,900, can go off anytime. He's 4,700 on FanDuel if you want to consider him. And then we have, Cole Anthony, 5K on FanDuel, 5,700 on DraftKings. I prefer the price on FanDuel, and he's been pretty consistent the last 4 games. 28, 30, had that 16, but then 23 before that. So a really good price on FanDuel. Don't think I'm going to go too many people besides Vooch here. I don't want to take the chances on Kim Birch or Clark or Enos or any of those guys. I think we'll be able to find some other value on this slate. Let's head on over to the Pelicans at Indianapolis. 228 over under. Indy favored by 1. No injuries on this game, so it should be a straight up banger here. Again, with this whole team kind of back for the Pelicans, it's hard to get excited about anyone. Zion, 8,100 on DraftKings, 8,300 on FanDuel. He's been super consistent at that 40, fantasy point mark. He did put up 48 DraftKings points in 32 minutes against Phoenix, but he shot 85% from the field. So I still think he's going to be around that 40 DraftKings mark, and that's not a spot that I'm like super excited that I want to see. So no one that I'm wanting to play on this slate. More so on FanDuel, I guess, at 8,300, but not on DraftKings. Not when you can play about everybody you want. Same with Ingram, 8K on DraftKings, 8,200 on FanDuel. A guy, just no thank you when they're full healthy like this. More so, it's the guards, man. Eric Bledsoe, 5,800 on DraftKings, 5,300 on FanDuel is a good price tag on him. Hadn't put up some monster numbers, 20, 24, 27, 38. I don't think he's going to put up monster numbers. I don't like him on DraftKings, but I'd consider him on FanDuel at 5,300, but just tournaments only. Not too excited there. And then Lonzo Ball, 5,900 on DraftKings, 6,800 on FanDuel. I'm not paying 6,800 for Lonzo Ball on FanDuel going up against Indy. So basically, I think this is a full fade here on this team. Let's just move on to the Indy side. Again, they've had the same characters that have been out. So bonus 8,600 here. Plays monster minutes, like I say all the time. 1.22 fantasy points per minute, 36 and a half, close to 37 minutes a game. Just plays monster minutes, 25% usage rate. 8,600, you're paying a pretty good penny for him. But I have no problem. 8,800 on FanDuel. If you want to play him on either side, I'm fine with it. He's been super consistent. Even a bad matchup against Milwaukee where they got blown out, he put up 59, 60, 32, 44. Again, I think you can play him in all formats here. This is not a with his usage and stuff that you can play. I'm actually going to slide him in the power forward slot in this lineup just because of how consistent he is. 86. If he puts 45 up, fantastic. Anything over that, great. So both these guys have 50 plus upside, and I like starting lineups like that. It feels pretty good. Over here, Brogdon. If we looked at Brogdon a little bit, 8,000 on DraftKings, 7,800 on FanDuel. I love that price tag on FanDuel. Very similar. 1.12 fantasy points per minute, 36 minutes a game. Usage leads the team in 27%. So a guy I'll consider. The one big thing with Brogdon that I have issues with, the last 2 games, minutes-wise, you can't really go on it because, look, they got blown out by Milwaukee, and then they kind of took it to Memphis here. So I'm not really looking at those game logs for that. But my big thing is Jeremy Lamb back kind of takes away some of his shots. So I don't know how the massive upside it is. Jeremy Lamb is 5,200 on DraftKings, 5,800 on FanDuel. Those are the only 3 guys I would play on Indy. And I'll take some shots at Jeremy Lamb here at 5,200. He is definitely up and down. 5 fantasy points against Milwaukee again. That matchup was hard against everybody, and Sabonis did everything. So I'm not considering that. But before that, 33, 28, 27. I think it's a guy you got to consider. And I don't want anyone else on this team. You're basically playing Sabonis, Brogdon, or Lamb here, and then moving on. Let's head on over to the next game. Toronto at Brooklyn. We have a 239.5 over under. Brooklyn favored by 4.5. OG Anunoby is still out. That's the big news here. Man, old Freddie Van Fleet put up a monster game the other day where he had 54 real life points, put up 77 burger. Gets a great matchup here against Brooklyn. Still fairly priced, 7,900 on DraftKings. Over here on FanDuel, he is priced at 9K. I can't pay 9K for Freddie VanVleet, man. As much as I like the cat, that's a fade for me. That's fade for me, Jack. So 7,900 on DraftKings is playable though. Lowry 7,800, 85. Boy, they priced all these guys up. But man, I'll tell you what, Brooklyn does not play defense. They are horrible defense. You know, they got beat by the Wizards a couple games ago, man, and like giving up 130 points a game. So you're going to want some of this Toronto action. I just think I will, you know, on DraftKings, they're priced way better than they are in FanDuel. So FanDuel, it's a little harder to get them in your lineups. But over here on DraftKings, I don't mind looking at a Fred VanVleet or a Lowry or a Siakam or a Powell. That's about all I'm going to go on a slate this size. I think all of them are playing DraftKings. It depends on how your lineup construction's coming in. Siakam might have the biggest upside, but at the same time, I don't really like him when Powell plays because Powell's very aggressive on the offensive side, and I think it takes away his upside. So I kind of like the Powell play a little bit here, and he's been super consistent when he does play. 37, 41, 43, 32. Again, priced up, don't get me wrong. I mean, we're not getting a cheap Powell here. 6,400 on FanDuel. I love that price tag. If I'm going to play one guy on FanDuel, it's going to be Powell. I ain't paying 9K for Fred VanVleet, 8,900 for Siakam, 8,500 for Lowry. I don't want any part of that. But Powell, I don't mind that. And I don't know how the rest of this lineup will go. Well, let's just shove him here at small forward and just kind of see. If we got to bump him out, we'll bump him out. Over on the Brooklyn side, we've preached this until we're blue in the face. You know, when the big three are playing here, they're all going to score. Don't really know what, who's going to be. We all know that Harden's going to be the facilitator. That's been proven. He just constantly puts up double-digit assists. We'll have to see what those assist props are later. If they've creeped up over double digits, we probably won't take it. But if it's still 9.5, I'll probably jump right back on that thing. Durant, 9,600 on DraftKings. Over here on FanDuel, Durant is 10-7. Again, hard to play these guys, man. Irving's 9,500 on DraftKings. FanDuel 9,100 DraftKings. I think I would take the chance. You don't only play one of them if you're going to play one, but I don't think, again, when all three are together, I don't really like playing these guys, man, to be honest with you. I just don't. And you ain't looking at anybody else on the team. It's just those three guys. And I think if I was going to do a rule on a slate this large, and if you want to have them in your pool, don't play more than one in a lineup at price. So I would set a rule for that. Let's move on to the next game because, again, there's not much talk about Brooklyn. Just getting those guys right. And at price, I don't think that there's a must. Let's go to Milwaukee at Cleveland. Milwaukee favored by 10.5. 226 over under here. On the Milwaukee side, looks like no real big injury news on Cleveland. Larry Nance is out. Kevin Love's been out forever, and Sexton is questionable. So on the Milwaukee side, again, it's the same three characters, man. Giannis, Middleton, and Holiday. I think against Cleveland, I don't want any of these guys. They could all get there, but again, you're kind of picking out which one's going to have a good game, and I'm not super excited about that. So not going to go that route. If we look over, Bobby Portis, 5,400 on DraftKings, 6,200 on FanDuel. Man, they priced his butt up on FanDuel. Giannis is 11.2. Drew Holiday's 8,300. Middleton 79 on FanDuel. But Portis, man, power forward though. I'd still put him in my lineups though in tournaments. He's never going to project well in most projection systems, just because the blowout's not taking in effect in those things. And if you do that, you got to kind of bring down Giannis a little bit and bring down Middleton and those guys. But 5,400 on DraftKings, man, when he gets the minutes, 43, 41 his last two, and both these games were blowouts. So this is where I say, if you think this game is going to be a blowout, I have no problem chucking Portis into this lineup right here. And I'm saying that I don't want any studs with him. I don't want any Milwaukee studs with him because they're not going to get there if Portis is going off. So consider that. If you're making a lineup and you have Giannis and Middleton and Holiday in your pool, I would make a rule that says I only want Portis without those guys. I wouldn't put them together. Over on the Cleveland side, again, with no Nance, Drummond should get more run. It's just he hasn't been getting massive run. 22, 33 minutes. I don't think you go here at price when you have Vucevic for 300 more. Just personally would not go there. I don't think you need to. 7,500 on FanDuel is interesting though. You got to consider that price. That is a cheap price tag on him. But on DraftKings, 8,200. I'm having a hard time getting him in my lineups, especially against Milwaukee. I don't like that matchup at all. If we saw Sexton leave, Garland at 5,800 is very interesting. Even in a tough matchup here, 30, 40, 27, and 33 over his last 4. Even in a game, against the Clippers where, they lost by 30, he still put up 35 minutes, put up 30 fantasy points. I think he's a guy you can consider, but I'm not like trying to shove him into my lineups. But if there's one guy on Cleveland I would play, I would look at playing a little bit of Darius Garland. Let's head on over to Utah at Charlotte. We have a 223 over under. Utah favored by 8. PJ Washington is still out. Terry Rozier is probable. Let's start on the Utah side. They are fully healthy. They should be able to do whatever they want here. This should not be a very hard matchup for them at all. And with Charlotte hurting in the bigs, they're gonna, Rudy Gobert is a decent option here. 7,400 on DraftKings. He should be able to do whatever he wants against Charlotte. We just saw what Embiid did against Charlotte, and these guys can put up big numbers. So don't mind taking a chance on him at all. Again, I don't like him a ton just because I like him when Mitchell's out, but you have to consider him for sure. Donovan Mitchell, 7,700 on DraftKings, 7,800 on FanDuel, another guy you can consider. But on this slate, I'm not super excited about it. I think the one guy I would look at is Clarkson's price has finally come down since Mitchell's been back in the rotation and they got their full guys. So with that price down, Clarkson's only 4,500 on FanDuel. That is way too cheap against Charlotte. Love that price tag on FanDuel. That's almost a lock and load there. But again, I don't mind this price tag even on DraftKings. 5,500 is good, but on FanDuel, man, just lock that dude in. Ingles 4,500 on FanDuel, 4,900 on DraftKings. Out of all these guys, I think I'm going to focus on Clarkson. Conley's priced up 7,200 on DraftKings, 7K on FanDuel. Nobody I'm like really super interested in. They're all priced fairly. So let's just hit Clarkson and kind of move on here on the big slate like this. Charlotte, again, Washington is out. So we should see a lot of Cody Zeller. They're going to need his size up against Gobert. Again, he's 6,100 on DraftKings, 5,800 on FanDuel. Had a little foul trouble there last game against Embiid, but that's perfectly understandable. But before that game, he still put up 44, 37 in those 2 games where he played mid 30s minutes. If this game stays close, I like some Zeller. Again, they're going to have to use him, and his price is still a fair price. I'm going to throw him in this lineup. I don't know if we'll use him, but we'll throw him in here just at price. I think there's a little meat left on the bone there. LaMelo Ball, 7,400 on FanDuel, 7,100 on DraftKings. If Rozier is out, we should see monster minutes again out of him. So I don't mind playing him. I don't love the price on him. I think his tournament's only at that price, but we know there's 50-point upside here. And so I think we first need that news on Rozier. Again, if Rozier... I said Rozier's probable. Okay, man. I need some more coffee. Apologize. So with Rozier probable, LaMelo Ball at that price, I don't want it. FanDuel maybe on tournaments, but still I don't like it at all. It's just way overpriced. That's more priced if Rozier is going to be out. So Gordon Hayward, 7,500 DraftKings, 7,400 FanDuel. He would be the other guy I would consider. I would just look at Zeller here. I'd just look at Hayward. Again, against Utah, I don't like the matchup at all. But again, Hayward played in Utah. Maybe he wants to go back and show him a few things. I don't really buy into the revenge narrative and all that crap. But at the same time, the price is nice, and I think you can consider him there. So let's move on to the next game. Washington at Miami. We just saw this one a couple days ago. Bradley Beal, 9,500 on DraftKings. We saw this 2 days ago. They like to do this. And they actually beat Miami here. And this was, I believe, without Westbrook in tow. 10-8 on FanDuel. Again, 9,500 on DraftKings. Westbrook is back, so that kind of takes the shine off of playing Bradley Beal. Westbrook, 9,800 on FanDuel. Again, 9K on DraftKings. I think you can look at him on DraftKings, but again, not a tough matchup against Miami, who, as we look at Miami, Dragic is probable, Vincent is probable, we know Westbrook's probable. So they're going to have their full allotment of their good players. So I don't think we need to go there. Ish Smith gets taken out of play. You can take a shot at Bertans once in a while. He can get hot. Rui is only 5K on FanDuel, 5,400 on DraftKings. You can consider that. But again, Matchup's not great. When you get a slate this size, I don't really want to take too many chances. Alex Len at 3,300 is always an interesting tournament piece. He played 27 minutes against Miami, put up 24 fantasy points. Again, you never know what they're going to play in the bigs. They still have Mo Wagner. They have Lopez. They have Alex Len. So there's a lot of things they can do. But that price tag, I thought I'd mention that, because if he did see 20 minutes again against Miami, if they need that size, that is a cheap tag. So I just kind of want to throw it out there. And he is 4,500 on FanDuel. So if he sees 20 minutes again, you might want to consider him in tournaments. Over on the Miami side, with Butler back, 8,300 for Butler on DraftKings. Over on FanDuel, he is 8,500. You got to consider him. Washington's a horrible, horrible team defensively. 1.32 fantasy points per minute for Jimmy Buckets, 26% usage rate. No problem throwing him into any lineup on DraftKings or FanDuel. He's just going to continue to do the heavy lifting for this team. So I don't mind him. Tyler Hero, 6,500 on FanDuel or DraftKings, 6K on FanDuel. Don't really like that tag with Butler in tow. And Bam, 9,200 on both DraftKings and FanDuel. Again, just more tournaments only at that price. I would much rather come down to Sabonis or Vooch in their respective teams and usage rates. And then, none's out of play for me with Dragic there. Dragic's an interesting piece on FanDuel at 5,200. I will say that. But I think it's Jimmy Buckets, and then in tournaments, maybe some Dragic and Adebayo, and that's about it for me. I don't want anybody else on this team. Even though it's a great matchup against Washington, I just don't think it's a high over-under. I just think that team's hurting, man, and Butler's going to have to take that team on his back and get some wins so they can get in the playoffs, and I think he knows that. So, he was out for a while, and it really hurt that team. So Butler's the main character here. Everyone else, tournaments only. Let's head on over to Minnesota at OKC. 220 over under. OKC favored by 1. Culliver's out. Cat is out. Hernan Gomez is questionable. Naz Reid's probable. Russell is questionable. And then on the other side, both Dort and Alexander, or SGA, Gilgeous-Alexander is out. So first we'll start on the Minnesota side. If we do get a lot of these guys out, there's probably going to be some guys that we're going to want to take in this game. This game has a pretty high over-under. 220 is not super high, but a close spread. And we could have teams that are both kind of short. So if Russell did sit, I would look at Malik Beasley at 6,500 on FanDuel, 6,400 on DraftKings. Same can be said with Edwards, 5,500 on DraftKings, 5,600 on FanDuel. No problem with the rookie there. And again, if you want to take a shot, if Reed plays at 5,400 on DraftKings or 5,800 on FanDuel, I'm okay with that as well. But I hate playing Minnesota guys. I hate the rotations. It's really hard for me to trust these guys, but the matchup is good. Over on OKC, again, the big news. We don't have any George Hill, no Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, no Dort. I think we go right back to the well with these guys. They are priced up a little bit now. Theo Maledon is priced up to 5K. He's still 4,800 on FanDuel. Had a bad shooting night, but I have no problem going right back to him on both sites. So Diallo, though, is the first guy here. 5,200 on DraftKings. He is priced at 5K on FanDuel. He's going to do it all. He was super, super aggressive last game. So you got to consider him. I think he's going to be one of your core plays at price. Last game there, he put up 33 minutes against Houston, 31 fantasy points. But just super aggressive all over the place. So I could see playing some Theo there as well. And like I said, I don't even mind doing this. I don't mind playing Maledon again at 5K. I know some people were a little frustrated with him. Still put up 28 fantasy points. Now, he had 6 steals and a block, but like I said, the guy is all over the place. That's what he does. Him and Diallo are just super aggressive. So if you want to play them both together, they both should play in a competitive game, mid to high 30 minutes. They don't have no Dort either. So no problem playing him. He shot 16% from the field. If he would hit just 4 more shots, he would have been, close to 35 to 40. So I have no problem going back to him. Baisley, I have loved this play as well, man. Baisley on both sides. 56 on FanDuel is so cheap. Had a monster game, 41 fantasy points in 34 minutes. It put up 18 and 12. No problem going back here. Like I said, I have Portis here. I don't even mind. Let's get rid of Zeller. Let's just throw Baisley in this lineup. But more cash lineup I probably do is I probably run Zeller and Baisley than Portis and Zeller. Just Portis is way more you have to have things go right for him to work out. But I'm letting you know that as I'm building this lineup. Those are the guys I would consider, though. Again, Theo, Maledon, Diallo, and Bazley are the main guys. You can look at Al Horford as well. FanDuel 6,300 is way too cheap. 6,100 on DraftKings. Again, only played 29 minutes, put up 30 fantasy points. I have no problem going right back to the well with him. They actually beat Houston bad. They didn't get a lot of run in that fourth. So a guy, I have no problem playing 3 OKC guys with the guys that they have out. I think the last time I checked, they only have 9 healthy bodies. One guy that did really well that I'll just mention last game that was super aggressive off the bench, and I don't mind looking at him at all, is Kendrick Williams. He played 23 minutes, had 30 fantasy points, shot crazy 7 for 8. But again, if he's going to be getting 23, 25 minutes here, you definitely need to consider him in tournaments. I like him a lot. Justin Jackson at 3,200 saw 30 minutes, way more than Williams, but wasn't as. One thing I didn't like about him is he started, right? And we know how aggressive Diallo is, and Maledon and Bazley. Justin Jackson's kind of the odd man out. So I personally would rather have Williams off the bench at that 3,400 DraftKings point. So maybe that's the thing is, we run 4 of these boogers, man. I don't mind running 4 of them at price. They're all cheap. They all can get there. Or maybe you want to run Diallo, Williams, and Bazley, and you don't want Maledon here. So again, there's lots of ways to go here, lots of thoughts to go here. If we wanted to wait for a stud, we could always take one of Sabonis out and throw Portis in this lineup. There's ways to go around that as well. So focus on those guys. Everybody else, just tournament options for me. I don't think you need to go there. I think you need to focus on Diallo first, then Bazley, then Maledon, Horford, and then Kendrick Williams. Those are the guys I would look at. Over here, let's go to Detroit at Phoenix. 214 over under. Phoenix favored by 7.5. Looks like Wayne Ellington's questionable. Okafor is out. Rose is probable. On the Phoenix side, Crowder is doubtful. Sarge and Payne are still out. So on the Detroit side, nobody I'm super excited about playing, honestly. Jeremy Grant is always in play, though. 7K over on DraftKings. Over on FanDuel, he is priced at 6,800. I love that price for Jeremy Grant on FanDuel. That's probably one of the first guys you could throw in at small forward position at price. He's a 1.10 fantasy points per minute for the year, 36 minutes, 25% usage. A guy you're getting like that for 6,800 is a bargain. I think he's in play here at DraftKings as well. I just don't know if I'll land on him in my lineups, but 44, 22, 27, 34. Got it going against Utah, which is a little strange, but again, consider him in your lineups for sure. If you want to play him over maybe Sabonis and that lets you get up on one of these other guys, consider him. Other than that, I don't have a whole lot of interest. If you want to take a plum dog, 5,500 on DraftKings, 5,400 on FanDuel, he's okay. He's a 1.02 fantasy points per minute. The minutes are never just massive, though, for him. 28, 16, 27, 28. But put a 41, 36, and 34 in 3 of his last 4. They might need his size against Ayton. So makes it an interesting tournament option for sure. If you want to get off some Chalk Zeller, look for a plum dog, man. Why not? And then other than that, nobody I really, really love. Maybe look at Josh Jackson. He used to play in Phoenix as well. 4,400 on FanDuel, 5,100 on DraftKings. No, thank you. 37.30 over his last 2, though. But I prefer him on FanDuel. It's a hell of a price on FanDuel. But 5,100, no one's going to own him. He'll be sub 5% on the slate. Over on the Phoenix side, again, like I told you, Crowder's doubtful, Sarge and Payne are out. Hard for me to play Chris Paul or Booker when they're both in. Booker's going to take the shots. Paul's going to just do what he needs to do to win. Don't love this team at all. If you're going to take anything, Chris Paul's 8K on FanDuel, 7,600 for Booker on FanDuel. Tournaments only here. Nobody that I'm really super excited about playing. Detroit's a bad team, so but we have a pretty low over under, and Phoenix is favored by 7.5. I don't see the need to go here. Cameron Johnson is 4,400 on FanDuel, so maybe he's interesting. 4,800 on DraftKings. We're probably going to need some more of him if we do get Crowder out. We'll have to consider him and Bridges. They're going to play more minutes. So other than that, I think it's a stay away spot. Let's go to the nightcap game. This will be a fun basketball game. Now, I don't know about so much fantasy-wise. Kemba Walker is probable. He just sat out last game because of rest on a back-to-back. They're probably going to do that for a while. Like I said, Brad Stevens said he's not going to push him over the 30-minute mark. Jaylen Brown is questionable. That would be big news. Pritchard is questionable as well. And Langford is out. And on the other side, Patrick Beverly is out for the Clippers. So this is big because if we did get a point where we had we had Jaylen Brown out. Tatum is going to do a ton here. Same with Kemba Walker. Kemba Walker actually slides right perfectly into this lineup that we have here. 6,500. We got 6,800 left. The minutes won't be over 30, so don't expect that. But 36 and 40 in 2 of his last 4. If there's no Brown, there's going to be way more shots for him. I think that we can look at him for sure. So I'll consider him, especially if Brown is out. Again, it's a tough matchup against the Clippers, so I'm not like trying to shove him in there, but that price is low, especially 5,700 on FanDuel. Love that price on FanDuel. So the only 2 guys 3 guys, I guess, if Brown is out, Walker on both sides at price, then I'm going to Tatum, and then I'm going to Daniel Tice. Tice is 5K on DraftKings. He is 4,900 on FanDuel, something I can consider here for sure. But again, Walker is the play. Over on the Clip Show, man, all these guys are priced up. Kawhi Leonard, 8,800. Paul George, 8,700 on DraftKings. Over on FanDuel, 9,600 for Kawhi Leonard, 8,600 for Paul George. Batum's down to 4,700 on FanDuel. That's a good price on him. 4,800 on DraftKings. Again, he's all over the map. 11, 33, 13, 35. Well, maybe he's good for another 30 piece here. Seems that's the way it goes. But again, this is more of a, it's a 220 over under. Clippers favored by 6.5. I don't think you need a lot of pieces here. Again, if Brown is out, look for those guys on Boston. And then if we see it on the Clip Show, when they're fully healthy, I'd only play one of them max. I wouldn't play more than that. And Paul George, is priced the best, so I'd consider him. Kawhi's always going to be in play, and then maybe some Batum, but I wouldn't consider anybody else at a full stack here. There's better places. Like I said, OKC is going to be where the great value is going to come from that game. Minnesota's horrible. Just load up on those guys. That's good chalk. So with that, again, quick 9-game slate. Let me know what you think of the banner here. Like I said, I'm going to look for a new RSS feed to we can get some either pertinent injury news for the day, or we can get the lines going through with the spreads, stuff like that. But a lot of things I can do with it. I just thought I'd throw it up there, kind of show you what I had planned. If you like it, let me know. If you don't, if it's too distracting, let me know that as well. But I just want to keep improving on things and doing things that I think will help you as we do a first look. So with that, I appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for watching. Hit that like button if you like this video and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you on the flip side. Deuces.